everyone, and welcome to another video. Today we're gonna do a day in the life. I am a full-time working mom. I do work from home, and I have two kids. I have a son who is 7 and my daughter is 4 years old. And today is our, I would say, typical day. It is a Thursday. My son has been sick whole week. He had a flu, so he went back to school this morning. And after school we have two activities. My daughter has a dance class and my son has like an event from his religion education class. This year is going to be his first communion, so there's a lot of activities associated with that. So I'm gonna go with my daughter to her dancing class. I'll take my son along, and then my husband's gonna pick up my son and go with him to that event. So a lot of things happening. I do have a lot of meetings at work and whatnot. So I'm gonna take you along and kind of show you how I manage all my responsibilities at home during a busy workday. And if you are new here, make sure that you subscribe down below so you don't miss any of my future videos. So what you have already saw in a video at the beginning was my miracle morning routine, and I have a whole video on that, so I'm gonna link it up here for you if you are interested. But it's basically starting the day with doing something for yourself. So in my case, it's exercise, it is reading a Bible, it is journaling, it is affirmations, and it is visualization, which is basically thinking about the goals that you have for yourself. Typically, I do not do any of the cleaning in the morning, but like I said, my son has been sick for a few days, so the house has been a little neglected because he was kind of trying to keep himself entertained. So I wanted to make sure that I clean it up so I can start the day fresh with a clean slate. And I'm just putting some dishes away that had to be hand washed. Everything from a dishwasher, that's usually what my husband is doing. So each morning, 99% of the time the dishwasher is empty, so I don't have to worry about that. And I'm also making lunch for my son since he is going back to school today. And around 6 o'clock is when my daughter wakes up, or most of the time I wake her up, so we can get ready for her daycare. So she does enjoy a little bit of snuggle time the first thing in the morning. And then I go and make her breakfast. And as she is finishing up her breakfast, I do get ready. I do put my makeup on and I do my hair. Most of the time, I try to do that every single morning. If I don't have enough time, I will most often choose putting on makeup over doing my hair if I had to choose, because my hair, especially in winter, I can just throw a hat on and I am good to go. But I do like to get ready in the morning. I feel like I am more productive when I am more put together and ready for the workday ahead. And then it's time to do my daughter's hair. She is always telling me every single morning how she wants her hair done exactly. So I do find it funny, but she is very particular of what she wants and how she wants it. So now that I have sat down to actually start my workday, I went through my emails that came, late after I left work yesterday and early this morning. So I got that out of the way. But now I see that there are a lot of changes to my meeting schedule. So if you have watched my video how I plan my days, I do plan it a week ahead. So check the video up here. But now I have to kind of rearrange things, which is fine. It's just the way that, normally I leave a lot of blank space to move it around. So I'll just use the whiteout to kind of shift things around and put my priority work for today and my meetings for tomorrow. so I get to listen to a meeting and then have my breakfast as well. And that morning, actually most of the mornings, I have scrambled eggs with some sort of a veggie on the side. And usually around 10 a.m. is when I have my second cup of coffee. I usually have 2 cups of coffee every single day. Okay, so right now it is 11:15 and I'm gonna take an earlier lunch because I have a meeting at noon, from noon to like 1:30. So it's a long meeting. So what I'm gonna do during my lunch is I'm gonna make dinner for later. Today is a very easy dinner. It's just something that my husband and my son really enjoy, and that is crepes. So it's one of those things I can make ahead of time and it's gonna be ready whenever they wanna eat it. So that's the plan for my lunch. And I'm gonna make that, and I'm gonna wash the dishes because the sink is full. I did not get a chance to do it this morning, so that's how we spend lunch sometimes. Sometimes I work on my side business, sometimes I run some errands, and sometimes I make dinner. The recipe that I use for my crepes is basically equal parts of flour and milk. So in this case I did 2 cups of white flour, 1 cup of whole wheat flour, and 3 cups of milk, and then I put in about 1 cup of water, 2 eggs, a little bit of salt and sugar. Like by a little bit I mean a few shakes of salt and probably half teaspoon of sugar. And I also will put some either canola oil or olive oil into the mixture, a little bit of it, so I don't have to put it on the pan when I am actually making them. And I will add that I had to be really careful about not burning And he craves because I had to constantly remember that I was washing the dishes and cleaning the sink to actually check and flip them over or put another one on. So it is about 1:40 in the afternoon. I had my last meeting for the day, so I am done with that, unless something happens. Just spent quite a few minutes with IT help desk on the phone, which is always fun. Well, it's my own fault. I somehow locked myself out of the email on my phone. I can still access my phone. I still have my email in Outlook on the computer, but I cannot have it on my phone. So I called this morning. They gave me two sort of like a reset passwords, and none of them worked, which is fine. They gave me, the lady on the phone told me one, and then I got an email with a completely different one. Tried both, none of them work. So, but the funny thing is, the guy on the phone, he was having a lot of side conversations, and I had to a few times I was like, is he talking to me or not? For example, he's putting in my ticket and doing all that stuff, and then I hear, well, you have to put your big girl pants on, and I'm like, are you talking to me? It's like, oh no, I'm just talking to my coworker. Probably should not say it on the phone, but so what I'm gonna do right now, one of my tasks for this week, one of my priorities is to look for the training that I want to do in this year. So usually in January, I try to figure out what kind of training I want to do, my professional training. So I have 2 certifications that I have to upkeep. So I try to find training in that arena. And I also have a lot of trainings that are mandatory for my work, you do it on annual basis. So I'm trying to see what months they are on. I think my next one is coming up, is due within 4 weeks. So I probably need to plan it for next week to get ahead of the deadline. But I do like to look at, I'll go online and look for different trainings so I can plan ahead, because some of those trainings take a few days, or they require payment from the organization, so I want to have it all planned out so I don't wait for the last moment at the end of the year. And of course, you have to look at the budget from the fiscal perspective and all that. So it's January is my month when I plan that. So usually I do it actually a little bit earlier, but it is what it is. So that's the plan for now. So at this point, it's 4:30. I just picked up the kids. My son came from school, picked them from a school bus, and I picked up my daughter. So they're eating a snack and watching a show on the TV. And I'm just gonna pick up the house with all the stuff we brought in. There's a lot of stuff that he brought in from school because he was missing it. So I have to kind of go through it, see what needs to be done, and pack us for the after school activities. So I'm glad that dinner is done. Not the healthiest for today, but that's what they wanted. So that's what they're gonna eat. So let's get this evening started. So as you can see, even though I did dishes at lunchtime, I did not have time to finish washing everything after I was done making the crepes. So that's what I was doing there, finishing up with the dishes, and then I was putting a lot of stuff for my son to take with him for his event in the evening, and just making sure we have everything ready to go. And here you see me getting some insulin for our dog who is diabetic. And normally you would not see jackets and scarves on the floor. I've mentioned before, in our front closet we do have a box on the floor for our kids to drop stuff in. However, because we were leaving within, I think, 45 minutes from us getting home until we had to leave again, I will tell my kids to just put the pile on the floor, so then they don't have to take it out again. They can just go in and get dressed, because they will almost always get dressed on the stairs. And as soon as my son got dressed, my husband actually made it home on time, so my son didn't have to go with me, and my daughter, he could just stay and go with my husband later to the event, straight from home. So that was pretty funny. As soon as he got dressed, he had to take his clothes off again. Okay, so the update, it's 8 p.m. We just got back from the dancing lesson with my daughter. My husband is still out with my son, so I'm gonna give my daughter a quick bath and she can eat something and then get ready for bed. So one of the things I do is when I know my son is gonna be getting back home late, I get his PJs ready, and as soon as I hear the gate opening, I start the bathtub so the water is ready for him when he gets in. And I'm gonna now go and set up something for him to eat, which usually his preference is mac and cheese, so I'll just put it in and we'll go from there. So I think this is where we're gonna end this video, because it's gonna be very chaotic, and I think I'm gonna save the part of like an evening routine for another video. But basically what we have left is for my son actually to take a bath, and then we're gonna head upstairs, read some books, and go to sleep and call it a day. So I hope you enjoyed this day in the life video of a working mom. Obviously not every day is the same. Sometimes I accomplish less, sometimes I accomplish more. As you know, that's how it is for everyone. But if you did enjoy this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and if you are not yet subscribed, make sure that you do down below so you don't miss any of my future videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.